control. Gravity is all that I know. She's over me. She's over me. She comes with her hypnotic dance. She holds. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Saturday edition of the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend, and thank you so much for spending part of it right here with us here on the Paranormal Portal. And a special thank you to Deb Varner last night. Went for 4.5 hours, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you that didn't stick around and see it all play out, but she was doing readings literally until I think the cows did actually come home. She was at it for a long time, and she did great. It was some great participation, some amazing call-ins, and we had a lot of fun. It was just a marvelous time. And Deb, you are a force of nature for sure. So thanks for everyone that participated last night's show. It was a wonderful show, and we had a good time doing it. And I hope you all got some guidance and direction that you needed to help you on your journey. So we are underway here tonight. Of course, during the show, there's always the chance to call in if you've got something paranormal to share of your very own. Please feel free to do so. It's 720-923-0500. However, if you don't want to call in, you're kind of nervous about all that, then please email us at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. Those are always options to get in touch with us here on the show. And special thank you to all of the emails I've been receiving lately from our listeners. It's been incredible. I'm getting just buckets of them. And honest to God, there's some I've got to find to read on the show tonight. And I'm going to have my it's going to be quite a task because I've been getting so many and having correspondence with so many people lately. But before I go any further, let me welcome my great friend and wonderful co-host, Mr. Don Longbeard, who made it in to be with me and share the joy of piloting the Paranormal Portal.
You make it sound like I'm like, never mind. Love you, Brent. Love you all.
Love, everybody.
Looks like MCAT got thrown a wrench.
He did. We gave him a wrench.
Awesome.
We just threw that at him, and turns out he caught it.
He caught it. Yeah. He's the blue guy now.
He's one of
the blue people.
Yeah, the blue person group.
Exactly.
start like putting PVC tubing together.
I tell you, that's one of the best shows I've ever gone to.
I've never seen it. I've just seen the commercials and stuff. But
great.
Yeah, they seem like they're pretty cool guys.
Yeah, they're wacky.
They are. They do look wacky. It looks like you got to have something going on. But how's everything for you, Don? Everything going okay?
Everything's good. Hi, Alize. How are you? Yeah, all's good. What is it? Today's Saturday. Yeah, I got a whole lot done today.
Oh, good. Well, welcome to the show. It's great to see you again. It's always nice when you're here to join me. It makes the evenings go lovely. But
you're so nice.
Now, at the top end of the show here, ladies and gentlemen, I want to make a special announcement. This is something new that we're putting out there.
Oh, you didn't send me the link for that.
Sorry. I certainly can. It's in the show description.
Oh, well, don't tell them that.
I'm telling you that because, but if they hear, it's not my fault.
That's true.
They're gonna know pretty soon.
It is your fault because you're going to tell them.
I'm gonna tell you about it right now, ladies and gentlemen. And basically, what it is I think that's one of the key elements in paranormal investigation is documentation, and that certainly has been mimicked by all of our wonderful friends who are paranormal investigators, Mr. M. Katz, Dan Pruitt, Lisa Martin. They've all talked about the need to have thorough documentation of what you're investigating, and the importance of that. Now, there are a lot of people jumping into paranormal investigating that's probably really don't have much of an idea what the hell they're doing and how to go about it. So I was working with a good friend of mine, Steve, and we put together what we hope to be at least a beneficial inclusion into the realm of paranormal investigating, and that is this right here. And what it is, ladies and gentlemen, it is the Paranormal Portal Paranormal Investigators Journal. And the idea behind this is to standardize and give people a format for recording their paranormal investigations. And it has a wonderful array of tables and spaces to compile information from the investigations. And it has enough for, I think, 25 investigations in each one.
Right.
There's talk, there's places to identify specific happenings, like there's checklists. And I know you're not going to be able to see too much of that from being on screen there, but it's just our attempt to offer a tool to the paranormal investigating community and to those who are trying to take it up, and to give some kind of formats to their reporting that should help organize and make the information cohesive, should allow for easy referencing and compiling of data to catalog in all the paranormal investigating that you're doing. So this is here. And it's available, ladies and gentlemen, on Amazon. That is in the show description if you want to check it out for yourself. We hope that it's well received, because I know one of the biggest shortcomings in paranormal investigating is the variety of methodologies or lack of methodologies in compiling data and information. And so this is our entry into the realm of investigating, and we hope that you guys will check it out. Those of you who are investigators, it's an ambitious project, but one I think that's the community of paranormal and ghost investigating desperately needs, because there's there's a lot of varying degrees of journaling of information and compiling information. And so that's what we're doing. So again, that is available on Amazon, ladies and gentlemen. The link is in the show description on YouTube. Don is putting did you get that link?
I can't put it in because the one out of the show description is 240 characters. And
Oh.
put 200 characters into the chat.
Gotcha. Oh, you can't just grab that last line?
No, I tried. It won't even come up like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's on. If you look on Amazon, I'm going to make a bit.ly link, I guess is what I'll have to do for going forward, since that's too big to paste into the chat. But I'll make a bit.ly link, which is basically an application that crunches huge links into something much more concise and friendly.
Let me work on that for you.
Oh, very good. Let Don work on that for us, and he can get that into the chat as well. But great idea for those of you on your Christmas lists who might be into paranormal investigating. It would mean the world to me personally. It's just an ambitious project, but I think it's something that's desperately needed. So thank you guys for entertaining that and letting me take a moment to talk about it here on the show. So we've got a lot of things on deck to go through tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and I know that it is always a blast on these Saturday nights. Don, you having a blast?
I'm having a good old time.
You always have a good old time, Don.
That's correct. Why have a bad old time?
Right. I mean, who wants bad old times? I mean, geez. Let's just think about this a little bit. So, I suppose as it's been tradition, I should probably check it out again just to see if there's any updates on the hot sheets, because I love me some Singular Fortean. That's a new one. Okay, there's this one is another one about a winged creature.
Is
But
this
this
the
one
one
comes
on
from
the?
1971. Did we cover this one?
No, but that's the one from the military base, right?
I don't know. It says police officer
Oh,
reports.
that's not the one. Maybe that's not
So
the one I remember.
yeah, we can check this one out. This one sounds kind of good. We've been covering a lot of these in the singularfortean.com, ladies and gentlemen, is an amazing website run by the Waylands, who are investigators themselves. And they compile the Singular Fortean full of reports of a lot of cryptids and other hauntings and UFOs, et cetera, et cetera. But they do a great job, and it's a site that I refer to quite a bit because I just think it's real easy and concise and clear to read, and the articles are really well done. So I always advocate them. I don't have any vested interest in promoting that site other than I really like it, and so I think that when you find things you like, if you have the platform, you might as well promote them. And so if you're looking for paranormal news, and even they have a hell of a lot of archives from the past, check them out, the singularfortean.com. And Fortean is spelled Fortean if you're not familiar with that word, and it just means weird stuff essentially. So what they're saying is in 1971, retired police officer reports sighting of winged humanoid near Chicago River. Now, this is really interesting because this goes all the way back to 71, Don, and we've been hearing a bunch of reports that have been compiled by the Waylands on singularfortean.com, and they've been really pretty recent. So I don't know. That's kind of strange, isn't it? What is it about Chicago area that lends itself to these beings being present?
It needs tourism to fix its city.
You think they're trying to get a lot of tourism and investigators to show up?
That town's been torn up, and if you're downtown,
You're
but the
really
outskirts
barely registering here.
Oh gosh, how's this?
Much better.
That town needs a financial,
Well, it needs a whole
injection,
bunch of
so-
things. I mean, Chicago, of course, it's a wonderful city. I visited there a few times before, and I like it. But they definitely have their hands full.
That's true, yeah. So, it wouldn't surprise me if some of it's trying to drum up business. I mean, but, I don't know what it is. I don't know. Is Chicago that bad off? I don't know.
No, I don't think it's that. I just
it's-
think I wonder if there's some natural feature there that they are coming from. If there is,
Right,
and I think Shell Dion talked about some kind of limestone mines or something that were around there that she believed that these things could be coming out of. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. Vaguely. Vaguely.
She had mentioned that on the show a year or two ago now. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
remember
been
how
a while,
long.
yeah.
But I thought that was pretty interesting. And I wonder if that's really the case, that something might have been tapped into, or some opening might have been unsealed somehow, and these things are now finding their way into our world pretty easily.
Right.
I don't know. The thing is that, you don't know what they eat. You don't know what they do. I mean, are they like preying on people and we don't know, or, what the hell's going on?
Right.
So usually if the Mothman is a harbinger, a lot of people believe, to, negative events that are forthcoming. Point Pleasant, of course, having the bridge collapse. And that's where essentially the Mothman legend was born, at least our modern understanding of it.
Right.
I'm not sure or convinced that that's probably the very first time it's ever
maybe
appeared.
it's the first modern time.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
It's like our
sorry.
modern version of it. But I think it's probably been around perhaps as long as we've been around. But I think it's really interesting. But let's take a look at this article, ladies and gentlemen. And it says they apparently got this information from the police officer, who said they were contacted recently by David Ramos, a 60-year-old retired police officer, who said that in 1971, at the age of 12, he had encountered a shadowy winged humanoid near North Branch of the Chicago River. So, see, that's all in that same area, like the airport and all of that is in there. So this is really curious. Ramos served as a police officer in Chicago's 14th District from 1994 to 2009. According to Ramos' initial email, when I was a kid about 12 years old in Chicago, we used to live near Old Riverview Park. A bunch of us boys were playing around near the banks of the North Branch of the Chicago River, throwing rubble, concrete from where they demolished the park, into the river and making big splashes. And I didn't like being too close to the water, so while the others were down by the riverbank, I went up to the path again by myself. I looked northward, and I swear I saw a very tall, skinny man who was very dark on the path, about 200 feet away from me, and he glanced my way, threw his arms up, and he had wings, and ran and flapped them and disappeared into the trees towards the bank. Now, if you remember the story of the trucker, the guy getting his freight filled at the airport, that was very similar. It just kind of ran away flapping its wings like, I can fly, but never actually leaving the ground.
Right, yeah.
Now he says, I was petrified right there and looked around, but my friends were looking south and still playing around. And I said, did you guys see that guy? I wasn't sure if I was seeing a guy pranking us or what. It was just spooky by the river, even in broad daylight, where they demolished Riverview. And I tried to explain, but my friends told me to shut up and didn't pay any attention to me. Nice. Those peer groups are so understanding. I was smaller and younger than them, and I am now 60 years old and a retired Chicago police officer living in Florida, and I never told anybody else, really, until I saw your article just now, and it shocked the hell out of me. I got the feeling of something evil that day and just wanted to go home immediately. They said in the follow-up email, he said, I tried to get a look at his face. When he glanced my way back then, I thought he had like a scary Halloween mask on or something, but there was no focal point for me just because it was not a human-type face. Big eyes was the thing I remember, and it still creeps me out to this day. I tried to remember if something had happened to any of us shortly after that, and I just remember that one of the older boys that were with that day shot and killed a rival gang member shortly after that sighting, and he was 16 at the time and went to jail at 17 for at least 5 years for murder. Only 5 years? Jeez. Talk about giving him the kiddie treatment. Wow. It said Mothman sightings are seen to be by some as harbingers for tragedy. That's exactly right. Tobias Whalen was able to contact Ramus over the phone for an interview. And it's basically just goes on to repeat his experience. But I think it's really incredible that these sightings are continuing in this area. Now, this is from 1971, but they are going, there's at least 5 or 6 that I've found on this site. Now, if it wasn't for the Singular 40, I wouldn't know anything of these experiences over there. So I really, my hat is off to them, not literally, but, figuratively, that, they're putting this information out there, and I really appreciate it. They do a hell of a job at the Singular 14 Society. So if you can help support their site and all they're doing, I know they do videos, they do a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm not as well versed in their videos and stuff, but I just became aware because I follow them on Twitter as well, and I've seen them announce some of their other projects. So I'm going to have to check out a lot more of what they're doing because I think these guys are doing it right. I really do. I don't even, know much about them, the Whalens, but I know just in reading their site, I'm very impressed.
Cool.
So that's basically the hot sheet. I don't see anything really. Well, there's mystery lights captured over Mesa. Did we read that one already?
Not that I'm aware of.
I don't remember that either. And that can be the liability because I'm doing so many damn shows. I can't remember what I'm talking about anymore. I'm just kidding. Of course, I kind of remember. Mystery lights captured on camera over Mesa, Arizona. Those are pretty high altitude. There is a picture, so I'm just going to drag this over and put it on screen because I always think it's great to have visual references for those of you who can see visual references. And allegedly, those are the lights.
It's a semicolon.
Hey, no worries, everybody. It's just punctuation. Nothing to see here.
Proper grammar.
It's a semicolon. Yeah, kind of is, isn't it? Oh, there's that. We're not going to do the video thing, but it says this video contains strong language. Well, we're not watching that anyway because I don't have anybody's permission to watch it.
Oh.
It's from ABC though. How bad can it be?
Huh? Maybe it was only released on their website.
Right. Well, that's true. He said, well, let's just see what he says. Doug Mayer and Carrie Burnett captured a strange glowing object on video over their home last Sunday, December 8th at around 9 p.m. Mayer posted the video to his Facebook page the same evening. I was in shock, he explained in the accompanying caption. My iPhone camera does absolutely no justice. Excuse me. Hold on.
He's got to cough.
I have to cough. So makes it look like it's far away, but it really isn't. And I've never seen anything like this. The video is only 36 seconds long because I had to switch to live stream it. Oh, okay. It was pretty bright. It's about straight up over here, and it went straight up that way. Stopped, and it didn't seem like it was too far. The object seemed to come out of the southeast, said the couple. It started moving kind of diagonal across, and I was trying to figure out which way it was heading, and that's when we noticed it started dropping things from it. Oh, my God.
Huh.
Whoa, Don, you could go pick up some care packages.
Is it like frozen turkeys?
Here's your ray gun.
WKRP in Cincinnati.
Don't forget the boom. Where's the big kaboom? Marvin the Martian, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. It's like turkeys from WKRP. Yeah.
That's what I said, yeah.
That's what I know. I just registered with me what you were talking about.
You just got it.
I was doing a joke at the time. I'm sorry. I can't deliver and listen at the same time. I gotta cue up what you're saying and then get back to it. So that started dropping things from it. Don't you just wonder what the hell could they be dropping?
Blue water.
What's blue? Was that like the urinal water or
Yep.
what? Oh, nice. Nice. The object appeared to be a glowing orb dropping a bright orange orbs towards the ground.
Oh.
Was also seen by their neighbors, according to Mayer, I guess, and Burnett. And it wasn't just us. Our neighbors next door, they were out too, and they weren't even filming. They were more in amazement, like statues just watching it. Skeptical speculation regarding the nature of the object includes a Chinese lantern spilling flaming fuel. Well, yeah, I don't know. They do get kind of bright, but I don't know. Although historical weather data shows the calm conditions with no wind at the time of the sightings, and military or other aircraft dropping parachute flares. Many have been suspicious of military flares as an explanation for UFOs since the famous Phoenix Lights incident. Yeah, that was crazy. That one was bizarre. Phoenix Lights were a mass UFO sighting that occurred on Thursday, March 13th, 1997, and stretched from Phoenix, Arizona to Sonora, Mexico. Witnesses reported triangular formation of lights that passed over the state and a series of stationary lights in the Phoenix area. The events were witnessed by thousands of people between 7:30 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. that evening. The event was explained away as a military training exercise, but eyewitnesses argued that what they saw was inconsistent with the appearance and behavior of flares. Mayer doesn't believe what he witnessed was any terrestrial aircraft. There were absolutely no navigation lights. Even the military has to have navigation lights on, and that's an FAA rule, he said. I know what I saw, and I don't think it was from around here, and I think it was definitely something else. While the outlaw military operations area is near where the object was seen, neither the Federal Aviation Administration, Luke Air Force Base, nor the Army National Guard could explain what those objects were. So far, they remain unexplained.
Wow.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. More strangeness in the skies.
You know, it's funny how they're changing it from weather balloons to Chinese lanterns.
Yeah, I know.
Isn't that weird?
Well,
I
at least
haven't
they're
heard it's a weather balloon in a long time.
At least they're rotating it a little bit.
Well, yeah, giving it a little flavor, a little.
Yeah.
It's, they're being politically correct in the ethnic sense,
Yeah, that's important. You gotta have varying explanations for strange phenomena.
Because everybody's caught on swamp gas and weather balloons.
Yeah, Uranus off of swamp gas. And, yeah.
This is Uranus on swamp gas.
Yeah, well, I've had some swamp gas of my own. Let me tell you, from Uranus. Not from yours.
No.
Much, but I don't know how to fix that now that it's out of my mouth. It's kind of
drop that from the sky and just let it go.
I was gonna let that float away.
Donnie Darko style.
I never did see that movie.
Oh, that movie was kind of fun.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, it was great.
I'm gonna have to check it out. I had a friend of mine that was into it. He was a recording engineer. His name was Nick, or still is. I assume. It was when I knew him anyway.
Now it might be Nicola.
Yeah, it could be anything now. Nikki, I don't know. I'm not sure how that works, but
Would be that be Darling Nikki?
yeah, exactly.
Oh boy.
I knew a guy named Nick. I guess you could say he was an engineer. Recorded my guitar.
Okay, who's gonna
playing.
get the check mark there?
What check mark?
It's the same composition, just different words.
That's right. I think it counts as an artistic license at that point because I'm actually adapting it.
Oh, gotcha.
I think. I'm not sure how that works. I'm just going to go with that though. So that's the hot sheets.
Wow.
At least for now. I don't know. Bat Like Wings. We already did that one. Pentagon denies UFO program. Investigate UFOs. No, we did that one. So I think we're all caught up on the hot sheets now.
Wow,
So
okay.
So again, wonderful 40 news. 40 news. So that's that. So
Wow.
let me see about finding those emails, Don. Do you got something to go with?
Yeah, let me.
Let's see what time is left here first. We got like a minute.
Really?
So there's like a minute before.
Break time.
There's a break time. I'm trying to get some more recordings set up with guests for the podcast, Don. We've been getting a lot of people wanting to step up and be guests, and that's really
awesome.
cool. That's awesome because, ladies and gentlemen, I love reading your stories. I really do, but I love hearing you tell your stories even more and having discussions.
You telling them and having your emotion put into it and the way you saw it. It's just something better about it.
And then we can talk about it too. It's like I can ask questions and maybe flesh it out. But I had a great discussion today with Dawn from North California. And she and I had a discussion about her NDEs, near-death experiences. And let me tell you, she saw some amazing things, had some amazing experiences. So that'll be Monday's podcast, right?
Yes.
That'll be released on Monday. So definitely check it out, ladies and gentlemen. She talked with Jesus a bunch of times. And she had more than one. She had several through the course of a period of time. And it's just really neat.
No bumper music?
No, apparently not. But I'll tell you what. I got some music coming right up here for those of you that are here and listening.
There you go.
I don't think we dropped that. I better make sure we didn't drop the network.
I hope not.
I hope not, too. Let me try to pull up Skype here. Make sure we are still connected. Yeah, we're still connected.
Okay.
So it's still there. But, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. Don't go away.
welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us for the show. While Brent is looking up those emails he wanted to talk about tonight, I thought I'd talk about something that's popped up recently. Apparently, there's a new show, and of course, I've known this for a couple weeks now, called Expedition Bigfoot. And this was written about 7 days ago. This is a write-up on it. It says, Expedition Bigfoot scours Oregon woods for signs of the mythical and elusive beast. Bear with me. A man crouches on the Oregon forest floor late at night, peering between the trees for signs of nocturnal life. The scene is pitch black, but his face and hands are visible in the infrared footage. He scans the landscape with a thermal camera, looking for heat signatures that would indicate he isn't alone. Suddenly, a red blob emerges in the distance. Do you see that? He whispers. It's something big. But could it be Bigfoot, the North America's fabled ape-like creature? That's the question this man, author and explorer Russell Accord, and his colleagues are trying to answer in the new travel documentary. Blah, blah, blah. Expedition Bigfoot. More than 10,000 witness accounts have described Bigfoot encounters in the continental United States over the last 50 years. Bigfoot has even has an FBI file that was released to the public on June 5th in 1977. The agency examined 15 unidentified fibers that were suspected of being Bigfoot hairs. But the hairs were eventually found to be of deer family origin. Leave it to the federal government. Now the Travel Channel searchers are hot on the trail of the bipedal beast, bringing the hunt to the Pacific Northwest, where about 1/3 of all Bigfoot encounters have taken place. In the series, a team of experts, including a primatologist, embark on a 3-week search for the elusive Bigfoot using state-of-the-art equipment and computer algorithms. The team analyzes footprints and possible nest sites and recorded mysterious vocalizations at Bigfoot hotspots around 90,000 acres of land in central Oregon. Hairy and ape-like, purported Bigfoot sightings often describe a tall, hairy creature resembling a gigantic ape that walks on 2 legs, an enormous primate known as a gigantic. I always have a problem saying that word. What's that word?
Gigantopithecus.
Thank you. Standing 10 foot or 3 meters tall and weighing up to 595 pounds or 270 kilograms for our other English-speaking audience. Once lived in Southeast Asia, but it went extinct hundreds of thousands of years ago. A large hairy animal such as the woolly mammoth and the rhinos have roamed North America during the Ice Age, but to date there is no fossil evidence showing that the large primates other than humans have ever inhabited North America. Now don't quote me on this, I'm just reading the story. Said the primate researcher and Bigfoot expedition team leader. Is that, I don't know her name. Is that Maria Mayer?
I don't know.
Huh.
I didn't watch it, so I don't know.
I don't either. Director of Exploration. Gosh, my stupid thing. Director of Exploration and Science Communications Initiative in the College of Arts and Sciences and Education. Very important. At Florida International University. However, the idea that the new type of undiscovered primate could be hiding in the dense woods in North America is totally within the realms of possibility, as long as the animals have food. Well, food, shelter, and a habitat that isolates them from humans. Mayer told Live Science. In fact, chimpanzee researcher Jane Goodall said in a 2002 interview, and we've talked about this, that she wouldn't dismiss the possibility of such a creature being real. I'm a romantic, so I always wanted them to exist, she told NPR host Ira Flatow. Big and small. In 2001, Mayer co-discovered a new species of tiny mouse lemur that is one of the world's smallest primates, weighing less than 2 ounces, or 57 grams. Small animals can be hard to spot in the wild, but even big hairy primates, such as reported Bigfoot, could conceal themselves from human quite effectively, Mayer added. We've seen through the history of with other apes, she explains. When I went in search of the western lowland gorillas, because of the dense vegetation that they live in and the fact that they're not habituated and, in fact, avoid humans at all costs. There are times where we were no more than 3 feet away from a 450-pound silverback and didn't know it was there for a good hour or two. As Mayer reviews eyewitness accounts of possible Bigfoot sightings, one thing that stood out was the consistency of the descriptions. A large bipedal creature with primate-like behavior. And when we were in the field, we were able to capture something on video that fits this description. Very big and moving in an ape-like, if not bipedal, fashion. That, to me, is probably the most compelling piece of evidence I've seen so far, said Mayer. Mayer shared the footage with a fellow primatologist who has studied living primates around the world and is familiar with all known forms of primate locomotion. When he saw the footage, he was completely blown away and agreed with me that something ape-like was far from its home, Mayer said. The burden of proof. Compelling though this new evidence may be, only a recovered body or genetic data from organ tissue, feces, or hair could definitively establish this fabled creature as a newfound species. Scientifically describing a new species means establishing a holotype, a single physical specimen representing the species, according to paleontologist David Hone, a senior lecturer in zoology with the School of Biological and Chemical Sciences at Queen Mary University in London. Describing the new species also requires a detailed amount of behavioral, anatomical, and genetic features that establish the animal's uniqueness and sets it apart from its close relatives, he wrote for The Guardian. To date, physical evidence supposedly representing Bigfoot has consisted primarily of hairs, and all of those samples underwent genetic analysis have belonged to existing animals. In 2014, researchers examined 36 Bigfoot hair samples collected around the world, linking most of the hairs to raccoons, horses, deers, cows, coyotes, the Malaysian tapir, and even
Tapir.
humans. Tapir? Is it tapir?
I've heard it called tapir, but
Okay. Intriguingly, 2 samples did not belong to any known species. However, the DNA showed that the mystery hairs didn't come from primates, and they likely belonged to an unknown species of bear.
really,
The scientists reported in their study in March of 2014 in the journal Proceedings of the Royal Society B. I think that's Royal Society of Biology. So there you go. So this was just written a few days ago. I think it was a week ago. And that was the footage from the expedition Bigfoot. And then I found another one. And this is a little different of a story. And this is just a little bit of a shorter one, but let's go through this one real quick. And it's related to that one because they do quote Mayer in this one as well. Explorers and scientists are on the trail of the legendary creature Bigfoot in the forests of Oregon. They say they may have captured video footage of the beast in an area where thousands of Bigfoot sightings have been reported. The ape-like Bigfoot creature is thought to be real by many Americans. In fact, more than 10,000 people have described eyewitness encounters with Bigfoot in the U.S. in over 50 years. Around a third of all the Bigfoot sightings happen in the state of Oregon, which makes it a prime target for Bigfoot hunters. It talks about the Travel Channel. The researchers tracked Bigfoot hotspots, analyzed footprints, and used thermal cameras to hunt the legendary beast. One of the team members is Maria Mayer. I swear it's Maria, a primatologist, blah, blah, blah. We've already talked about her. She said that an undiscovered primate hiding out in the dense forest is totally within the realm of possibility. This is starting to sound like the same thing. Where did I see the different stuff?
I don't know.
And when we were in the field, we were able to capture something on video that fits the description, which is the upwalking or the ape-like movement, or if not, the bipedal forward movement. Oh, yeah, okay. No, it was the same one. But anyhow, so my question is I haven't watched the show yet. And I know a lot of our folks have or are in the process of. And of course, we know, probably, Wes has probably seen it. And it's been thrown around, the social media for a while now.
Uh-huh.
And so I think I'm going to have to go back and check it out. But I don't know. There are so many things, as we've discussed before, so many things that we've never seen, and as they mentioned in the first article, the lemur that they found, things are so small that sometimes we just don't see them.
Right.
And whether that be a fist-sized bee or a rabbit, there was a rabbit that they found that was supposedly extinct recently as well.
Yeah, a lot of those old extinct species are kind of resurfacing, and it just what it seems to suggest is that we probably aren't really qualified to make bold statements like, well, these aren't around anymore.
Right.
Because we there's so much wilderness out there. There's so many untamed places that we just don't go. So for scientists to make such brazen statement, to me, it seems irresponsible, because until we are have it all cataloged and mapped, I don't know if they should say things are around or aren't.
Right.
They can say we don't see them anymore, but I wouldn't surprise me even a little bit if the Tasmanian tiger was back in action, and and was still out there. And there's a lot of people that have caught some really promising pictures and proof, or at least suggesting proof.
Very, 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 I would say, moving evidence of that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think that they very well could be still out there. Just they got wise. They were getting hunted, so they just decided, nope, those guys are bad. But very cool. Thanks for reading that.
Mm-hmm.
I did find the emails, and I found an article that Beth had sent us.
Oh.
And Beth sent us something about Randonauts. I think that's what they're called. A growing community called Randonauts believe that journeying to random locations can help put us in new realities. Now, I never heard of this before. She's apparently looking into it herself, but and then we'll get to the emails that we got. But this was sent by email. It says, a small but quick... Oh, geez, look at that font.
I know.
Oh, my God. I don't feel like reading such tininess. So I'm going to blow that way the hell up. There we go. Now it's legible. A small but quickly growing online community believes that transforming randomly generated numbers into clusters of location data could help us tunnel out of reality. Yeah, but where do you go?
Yeah.
I'm no longer real. Then their name for themselves? Randonauts. From a report, it's a sad truth that most of our lives are pretty boring, geographically speaking. Live in one place long enough and you'll develop routines, walk in the same streets, patronizing the same coffee shops, and generally making it easy for a simulation, should one exist, to anticipate where you will be at any given time. Randonauts hope to use this tedium to their advantage by introducing unpredictability. They argue that by devising methods that force us to diverge from our daily routines and instead send us to randomly generated locations we'd otherwise never think about twice, it just might be possible to cross over into somebody else's reality. New information and casuality can pull you out of the filter bubble and change your life, writes the Fatum Project, Fatum, the online team responsible for the technological and philosophical framework of the movement. Even if you don't buy into the dense thicket of theoretical quantum physics underpinning the logic of it all, going to a Randonaut-style adventure can be a lovely way to spend an afternoon. Okay, so either you leave reality or you're just going to have a nice time. According to the Fatum Project, there's hard science behind all of this, building on research conducted by Princeton University's Engineering Anomalies Research Lab into whether human thought could influence real-world events. They hope that Randonauts will be able to leave their reality tunnels and discover new contexts, appreciate daily life in fresh ways, or even venture into parallel iterations of their own realities. Getting started is easy. Log into the Telegram messaging app and send the command /get attractor. Get at, and and then tractor. And I think that's a tractor, but along with your location to Shangri-La _ bot. Formerly, you could also message Randonauts _ bot. The bot will plot out thousands of nearby geolocation points using a quantum random number generator, and spit out the area with the highest concentration of points near you. Conversely, computer-determined desolation is more your style. You can send the command /get void, and through a similar process, the bot will send you to a location where there are no randomly plotted points. On Reddit, Randonauts have reported finding things like an upside-down airplane, a llama standing totally still, 3 identical black cats, a family of horses in a public park, and a bird that also refused to move. Under the auspices of Get Void, users have reported finding derelict locales, creepy signage, and other marks of decay. Think of it as geocaching by way of Marianne Williamson. Very interesting.
That would be kind of cool, actually,
Sounds interesting, ladies and gentlemen. You could just punch in a weird location and just see where it takes you.
Oh, it'd be cool.
I can only guess, but go ahead.
If you did one of those void, the void bot.
The Get Void.
Yeah, the Get Voids bot. And you end up finding, why am I still on? Take me out of Beard Vision, you weirdo. And you end up finding.
It's us. It's both of us.
Oh, I must be behind. Oh, I am. I'm quite a bit behind. And you end up finding like DB Cooper's stash. Wouldn't that be cool?
You find a lost diamond mine.
That's
mine. Not mine.
Ermine?
Or mine. I said diamond mined by accident. But anyway, yeah, it's very curious. I've never heard of this before. I don't know what to think of it. I guess if this is a simulation, why would it simulate areas where nobody is? And if you just suddenly pop into a place you're not supposed to be by the algorithm of the simulation, then what will you find? Yeah, but what if you pop out and there's no air?
Oh. Or it's underwater. Yeah.
It's underwater. Hey, Atlantis.
Now I understand what they meant.
Yeah, exactly.
Too bad I'm drowning and I'll never make it back to the shore.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like 3 kilometers underwater. Why am I getting squished into a peanut? It's like, you just got to be careful.
Oh my God, I'm on the Eldritch.
Yeah, you go into a different quantum reality, and it's like underwater world, and people have gills except you. It's going to be great fun. So I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, who knows what the ramifications of such a thing are, but it just goes to show you how desperately some people are working to get out of this mess. And to find the cracks in the masonry, so to speak. But cool. I've never heard of that, Beth. Thank you so much for sending in that. I'm very intrigued by it.
Yes.
But also a little concerned. But intrigued mostly.
Well, have you ever done geocaching?
I've not done.
Oh, okay.
I've led kind of a milquetoast life.
I haven't either. But I've always wanted to. So you download this program onto your phone, and it hooks up to a GPS system, a satellite GPS system, and you can find these different caches online.
Oh,
and
I've
then
heard of this.
you put in those coordinates, and you go to that coordinates. Now, of course, those coordinates are only good. The coordinates covers like a 30-foot radius.
Oh.
So usually geocaches are coin. Well, there are actual GPS transmitters that you can find, and when you find it, you've won basically. Or there are people put things in like plastic boxes, like little trinkets and toys and things like this, or a little piece of paper that says Kilroy was here, that kind of thing. And so so it's kind of cool. Basically you're going for geocache treasure.
Nice.
And so, you want to take something that you can add to it. Most of the time you're welcome to take something from it.
Right.
But if it's a geocoin, then you want to leave the geocoin. But it's very, very like this in a way, except you're not looking for something. You're just looking for that disconnection from the modern world.
Right. Well, that's cool. But yeah, I mean, both of these are interesting, I guess. Yeah. But it definitely is intriguing to me, really intriguing to me. And I guess it's, it's kind of like, what if there is something to that? And what if you do go somewhere else or come into a different type of reality?
Yeah.
And I mean, at the same time, wouldn't that be scary? How do you get back out of it?
Well, I don't know. If you get back over there and it's still the Bernstein Bears, I think you'd be good.
Yeah, I want to go back to that place. There's mirror on the wall and Bernstein Bears and yeah.
All of those, yeah.
Yep.
So maybe that's what happened. Those people were out walking and they came across a portal, and we've discussed that before. And maybe this is the way they found it.
Could be.
But if they found their way in, couldn't they find their way out?
I don't know. I can't tell you.
The door only swings one way.
Or does it? Or does it? Okay, so we got an email.
Oh, excellent.
And this is from Nessie, actually. Nessie, thank you for sending this in. And she also sent in a couple of photos, and I'll do my best to display those. It says, Nessie Monster here. You wanted more stories? I'll warn you, this is a long story to read, but to protect the privacy of the friends there with me that night, I'll just have used their first initials of their names, J, H, and E. Just for you, I've made phonetic pronunciations of the words.
Thank you, because they're New Zealand words, right?
Good on ya. Thank you very much. She really does love me. I wonder if I can read this in 4 minutes. What do you think?
I don't know.
I don't know how long it is. I think I got a shot.
I wouldn't attempt it.
Okay, well, I'm going to read this right on the other side. Then I know we had a call.
Okay,
on hold,
well,
but that's not there any longer either. So let me get your story after the break, Nessie, because I don't want to chop it in half and really screw it up. I know we've got a couple other ones here that I'm going to get to in just a minute. And this is from a listener named Samantha, and Samantha says, "Hello, this is Samantha from Monteagle, Tennessee. I love the show, you and Longbeard."
Thank you.
So anyways, I wanted to share a few of my own personal stories. Let's begin with the porcelain doll.
No.
Don loves these kind of stories.
No clown dolls.
These are Don's favorites.
I hate clown dolls.
I heard a story the other night about a clown doll similar to mine. It reminded me of my own. When I was younger, like 5th grade-ish, my now deceased grandma, or grandpa rather, who I never really knew, had given me a doll as a gift. It was a small cloth doll with a porcelain face, creepy, but maybe just because dolls and clowns creep me out. Simply, yeah, very, very true.
I understand.
Don definitely understands. So when I had the doll, weird things happen, and it would move on its own. My luck was crappy, and it always seemed to be in the room with me. So I decided to give it to a friend as a birthday gift. She then informed me about a week later of the same happenings to her. So I inquired what she did with the doll, and she informed me she tossed it out the car window.
Oh, my.
And this is where it gets even better. We both go to a sleepover at another friend's house about a week or so later, and on her mantle in the living room is the same creepy clown doll just staring us down. And we asked, "Where'd you get that?" "Oh, my mom picked it up on the side of the road. Isn't it cool?"
Oh, my God. Hey, by any chance, have you had some weird things going on in your house lately?
Yeah, is that the rest of the sleepover? It was like screams.
It's sitting up, staring intently at it.
Yeah.
Did it move? I thought I saw it move. Did it move?
Did it
I saw
move?
it move.
Looks like it's
Did it
pointing
smell
at me.
something? Did his face crack?
It just does the De Niro. It points at his
Yeah.
fingers and points at them.
He's like,
Fingers at the eyes and then at them. I'm watching you.
wow, yeah, I hate dolls. And that is not good. Clown dolls are even worse. But
They are kind of creepy. I got to admit, I don't mind them personally. I don't have a phobia against them or anything, but they are a little odd. We got another one from Samantha, and then Alize wrote in one as well. But I think we're going to have to wait on all of these until after the break because we are down to about a minute until it's time to go to the break. So we are underway here, ladies and gentlemen.
kill the clowns from outer space. Yeah. Leave it to Naysay to bring something like that up.
Oh, yeah. Naysay, I got your message, by the way. I'll try to give you a holler tomorrow. So I'd be looking forward to it.
So they're talking about some people over in our chat are talking about CERN. I just read a story that there were drunk CERN scientists that were arrested because they caused a 3.4.
Yeah, but did you see the source? It
No,
was
I didn't.
World News Daily.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a rag.
Oh well.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something like, hey, let's crank up Italy. Let's see what we can do to Italy. Yeah, that's terrible stuff.
Mimes need to be burned.
Oh, nice. What the hell? That's a little evil.
Mimes.
They're kind of cool. They can look like they're lifting boxes
assholes.
and. Don, watch your language
Sorry.
first of all, but second of all, mimes are cool.
No,
I
they're
like
not.
it. The box, they're stuck in the box. Come on, Don. That's fun stuff right there, brother.
19 seconds.
18, 17, 16. We're going to go to break, ladies and gentlemen, so we'll be right back after these very important messages or an entertaining video segment, whichever forum you're watching.
Over there.
Made by me. Ooh. All right, guys, we'll be right back. Don't go away.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, ripping scars across my heart. Raging anger boils inside me, and their lies keep falling apart. With my silence, I am not a stupid boy. No more breaking me with kindness, just you dance upon my joy. Leading me with empty promise, you're just another fucking mess. Taking off the slice of my sanity, just make sure that you're well fed.
Carol Ann is not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that is different from themselves. Her life force is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hour number 2 is now completely underway, and I hope you're ready for it, as number one was so much fun. But the good news is we have a whole nother one to fill, so buckle up, enjoy yourself, grab a libation, and light a candle and get ready to rock. Hour number 2 is now upon you. All right, we got another email here from Samantha. I'm just going to go through second Samantha's and then Alize's and then back to Nessie's. So this is Sam again. This story is from Montego, Tennessee, and it's not 100% paranormal, but it is 100% strange. So I used to live in an apartment, pretty shady place. Anyways, just setting the scene, I was trying to go to sleep one night, and I did, as if I had done many times before, and just laid there and stared at the alarm clock, watching the time tick by, and it was about 2:43 a.m., and I could hear chains clanging. And I saw blood everywhere. There was a bloody, gory body parts hanging from the ceiling, and I tried to scream, move, talk, just anything. I blinked my eyes a few times, and the gruesome scene went away. But my friend, who had recently committed suicide, came to me, and he spoke to me, and I spoke to him, and I wept. And there are details of the above that I'd rather not disclose, only because it's not my story to tell. But getting back on track, after these things occurred, I finally learned about sleep paralysis, which I suppose is possible because I was diagnosed not long afterwards with narcolepsy, but I still think I was awake. Maybe it's just because my brain was so sleep deprived. I don't know. All I know is it was scary and sad, and I thought I was just losing my marbles. Yeah, the night paralysis, sleep paralysis, night terrors, whatever you want to call them, they are absolutely, incredibly poignant, emotionally charged experiences. I had sleep paralysis. I don't know if it was clinical sleep paralysis or paranormal sleep paralysis, but I went through a spell of it over a couple of years, and it was just horrible. It was just horrible. If you've never experienced it before, ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell you, it is about the most helpless feeling you're going to have in your life because, we're people. We're able to do things. We're able to lift things. We're able to move and do whatever, usually for the most part. But then when that hits and you can't move, you can't even hardly, make your body do anything. Like maybe look around the room with your eyeballs, but everything else just feels like it's locked down. You can't make a sound. You can hardly breathe, and it's just terrifying.
I have never, to my recollection, ever experienced something like that.
No, that's good.
Fortunately.
Yeah.
And once again, I've never, I would not say I've ever experienced anything extraordinarily paranormal.
Right.
Notice how I qualified that because I'm sitting in this room.
It's all paranormal, Don.
Yeah, nothing. I'm not asking for it. I'm just simply saying.
Right.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's. Excuse me.
Oh, you all right?
Yeah, I just kind of swallowed wrong.
Oh, okay.
It's one of those things you definitely don't want to seek out because if it happens, it's horrifying.
Yeah, that's another thing. How about waking up with temporary amnesia?
I've done that. I've woke up and wondered, like I've woke up, and it was after my grandmother passed away, and she and I were very close, and I had this weird series of dreams where I would feel like I was waking up, and I wasn't really waking up, and I would be in her house. And I was like, well, what's going on? Why am I in her basement, which was unfinished at that time, and it was just stucco walls and really empty and cold, and I was like, why am I here? Why did I fall asleep down here? What am I doing here? Where's Grandma and where's everybody? And then next thing I know, I'm sleeping again, and I woke up in a different part of her house. This time I was upstairs, and then I finally did wake up in my own room, and I was like thinking, Where is my grandma? Where is she? Wow. I was thinking I had to figure out where she was, and for the life of me, I couldn't figure out where she was. And then after like a few minutes, it dawned on me, oh, she's passed away. She's been gone for a while, but it was just gone from my mind. It was just not there. It was really weird.
That's crazy.
It really was.
You know, I think I can imagine that feeling, because I know I've woke up, it's like waking up, and you're like, you don't know if it's 3:00 a.m. or p.m., and you're like, oh God,
Yeah. Which one I need to know.
So if that would be considered that, then yeah, I mean, and you don't know what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
You wake up in a state of confusion. Mm-hmm. And I've done that. I know I've done that. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Just like you said. But Cha-Cha says something about, or your own arm attacking you in your sleep. It wasn't my arm; it was my hand.
But it was part of the arm.
It's called alien hand syndrome.
Right, but it's got the cooperation. Apparently, the arm is a co-conspirator.
You think so? Can I blame the elbow and shoulder as well?
Well, depending on how much was going on there.
All the muscles from the shoulder down?
I would just say the whole thing. Yeah, screw that.
Yeah, that's yeah.
All right, so we got an email here from Alize. Thank you for Alize.
Are you going to read Nessie's?
I am, but I'm going to go back to Nessie's because I'm just going to read these three in sequence. They're shorter, but really cool.
Wonderful.
All right. Hi, I'm Alize. I'm 14 from Montego, Tennessee, and I've had a paranormal story for you. P.S. I'm a big fan of you and your show.
Awesome, thank you.
Yes, thanks. I love that. Back to the story. I once lived in an apartment with my mom, and you may know as Samantha, who had texted you before. And anyways, we did move to a house which I was uncertain about. So I got a ghost app and inspected it to be sure. Mm-hmm. Well, it was okay till I was in my room and basement. Oh. I just had a bad feeling, and you feel like someone is watching you, and the basement. Then the basement. There was a word said through the scanner of Noah, which I thought was weird because I asked, why are you still here and not moved on? In which it said Noah. And there used to be a kid here named Noah before I moved here. And you're probably like, okay, just a coincidence. But I searched deeper and figured his grandma died and she used to live here. So I thought that was really odd. And part 2 was a month later. I had someone touch me as if they were giving me a hug. And it was just like the wind. And then it happened again, and I was like, I will check the temperature and see if it was windy, but it really wasn't. The only thing that is weird, though, is when I got touched, I felt safe and warm. So it could be his grandma or my friend's grandma who had died in September. I hope this makes sense, and you don't think it's weird.
No, it's not weird.
Not at all. This is our kind of weird. Are you kidding me?
You're fitting right in.
This is what we do here.
That's kind of cool, though, So the idea that the grandmother of Noah is still there, and maybe that's what it was, is the grandmother asking,
where's Noah? Yeah,
basically,
yeah, that's a great point.
And then the hug, that's really cool.
I've experienced something like that as well, Don. And I'll tell you, it's not a long story, but it's a good story. I think it's a beautiful story personally. And what had happened was, a dear friend of mine who was like a father figure to me had passed away. And it was February, and Minnesota, and we lived on the lakefront, and that's like 2 miles of open water, open ice, because it was the dregs of winter, and it was freezing outside. It was a atypical warmer February, but that night was, but. I got the phone call and learned that he had passed, and he had Parkinson's and was dealing with a whole lot of stuff, and had survived cancer, and he had really had a long journey and a long tough journey, but he finally passed away. And he was I don't know, he's just one of those people that are so special, that touch your life, and he was one of them. He wasn't actually my blood, but he was my family. And I was just crushed. I mean, I knew it was coming. It's one of those things you try to brace for, you try to prepare for. But then when the news finally hits, it's just like you just know that a light has left the world. Right. And it just feels so painful and cold. And so I just, I was in my house, and I was just like, no, I got my shoes on. I was just wearing jeans and a T-shirt and my shoes. And I went outside in the February cold in Minnesota. And by that time, it's like 15 to 20 degrees outside. But I just stood out there because I just needed to let the tears fall, and I just looked up at the sky, and I was like, I'm so sorry you're gone. And then, and I swear to God this is true, the wind suddenly picked up, but the wind was warm, and it circled me, and I stood outside for 20 or 25 minutes in absolute comfort while the tears fell, and it was weird because in my head, I had all these questions, and I was asking them and having them answered just like boom. Like there was this direct communication going on. It was just this really incredible, surreal experience. It was like he came to me, and it was just, I don't know, it was the most healing moments that could have happened at that time. And I couldn't help but smile and just stayed in that warmth and in that moment for quite a while. And I was like, I said thank you, and I will pray for you. I wish you well, and I love you. And it was just this really cool moment. Now he's actually the guy that told me a saying, and I know it's not his saying, but it's one he said all the time. And he always told me, and he told everybody, if you have to make a choice between being right or being kind, choose kind. And he's the reason that one of the reasons I close the show, every show, with that line: be good, be kind, be nice, take care of each other. He's one of the inspirations for that. So that's it's a cool experience, and I think they are around us. These people that are full of love, and they're just a heartbeat away. They're just a breath away. And sometimes they'll make sure that they're there. And this was definitely one of those. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a really cool experience. I was really honored to have had it.
I feel jealous sometimes talking with you and all of our chatters and things like that have had these experiences. Especially these warm ones like Alize and the hug, and you and the hug, and
right.
Blah, 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 blah. It's like, what about me?
Right.
What about me?
Here's the thing, and I don't know if maybe it's just requires a degree of openness to really crack through, and I know you kind of look at things skeptically, and so maybe that's a bit of a wall.
I do. Well, and that's one thing that we've talked about before is, trying to get me through that wall, and just exploring that. Just keep going. That's why I'm here for this journey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's you're I think your horizons have been plenty broadened since coming on the show. So we're gonna pop that skeptic bubble of yours eventually.
No, we'll see what happens.
Well, possibly. I mean, I want you to be you, of course, but. All right, so we're going to get to Nessie's story now, and we'll read through this.
Yes, excellent.
All right, so this is Nessie Monster here. I'm going to start from the beginning. So you wanted more stories? I'll warn you. This is a long story to read. To protect the privacy of my friends that are with me that night, I just used their first initials of their names, J, H, and E. Just for you, I've made phonetic pronunciation of the words I know you'll have trouble with, so it might pay to have a quick pre-read. Guess what I didn't do? So we're going to check out your pronunciations in real time. See how I do. See, it's like a game show. The following story is 100% true. I spent weeks almost in shock after this night trying to get my head around it. And I've had experiences all my life, so this is really telling you something. I've also included the sketches I drew from that night. WTF just happened. And that was what I spent a few days asking myself after the following experience. This was supposed to be a nice ride out to a lake to admire the moon and the stars without light pollution. What followed would make a plot for a scary movie. We'd heard other people having weird things happen at this location, but nothing on this scale, and we didn't think too much about it. But honestly, by the end of it, we were literally felt we were fighting for our lives, trying to get out of there safely. While this may sound like we're being overly dramatic, I can assure you it all felt very real at the time and was indeed very frightening. I cannot recommend strongly enough that anyone who ventures out to this location be prepared for anything. It was not for the faint heart. J&E had asked me if I would like to come out with them one night to Lake Haruko. Haha. Nice. Love you, Nessie. To check out the night sky and the moon. Well, they knew of people having spooky experiences out there, and they had a interest in the subject, and that I had an interest in the subject. So I asked my friend H, who is also a psychic medium like myself, if she wanted to come along too, and she agreed. She had daytime experiences there before about 8 years ago, sensing strong presences. She had also heard about a lot of people having mysterious car and boat troubles out there. It's a remote location in the Fiordland National Park, New Zealand, the deepest lake in the country. No phone reception, no radio reception, no houses, no power, no lights, and down a 20-mile-long gravel road. There is a documented ancient Maori. Okay, thank you. Run the syllables all together, she says. This is perfect. Burial in, I should have her write all my stories. Burial in a cave on an island in the lake, which predates the main tribes that inhabited the area now. Oh. This cave burial site is protected behind a grill of bars in an effort to stop it from being desecrated or disturbed. We all left from my house in Jay's car. It was a beautiful, crystal clear autumn night, perfect for stargazing. And on the way there, a car that had been following us closely disappeared in the Orawia turn off. The lights gone, no sign of it, even though it had indicated to follow us. 15 minutes later, myself and Jay both saw a tall shadow person standing in the road in front of a large yellow road sign up ahead of us. The drive out there took over an hour each way, and as we got closer and on the gravel road, more things began to happen. First, H saw a light-skinned Maori man with minimal tamoko.
Those are their facial tattoos.
Yep, tribal facial tattoo on his face. Mm-hmm. He had a rounded face, and he said that he was the one who was protecting the woman buried on the island. Well, he wasn't threatening at all. He said, Puta Hairi, and we thought that was his name, but later on, we translated, and it meant go back. Oh. Ooh, that's not good. And he was warning us. Next, his lady love sat in the back seat of the car next to H. H could see a misty form materializing next to her, could describe the woman's cloak. The cloak matched the description of the one found at the burial site. Wow. H actually moved over on the seat because the woman looked so solid to her, and yet the rest of us couldn't see her. The woman traveled with us to the lakeside before vanishing. Neither felt threatening or in a harmful way. In fact, they felt more protective of us and wanted to share some of their story. At one point, Jay and myself both began to experience heartburn at the exact same time. H and myself experienced waves of nausea. E had a pounding headache right up until we arrived at the lake. Jay's left turn signal in the car randomly turned on once. Passing through the forest, I could see tribal warriors running and hiding among the trees on my left side. They were watching and following us. When we got to the lake, the car radio was still playing music despite not normally being able to get radio or cell phone reception out there. We all got out and made a short walk to the shoreline, and we all felt a vibrating sensation all up and down our bodies. The temperature was 6 or 7 degrees warmer by the lake than out by the main road, and it was not windy, and the lake was calm, but yet the waves on the lake sounded rough and choppy, and it was really odd. Our flashlights were malfunctioning on and off the whole time. H could hear a woman screaming. J heard someone coughing, and we called out in Maori to them saying hello and asking their names. On the shore, it really felt crowded, like we had to make our way through a big group of people, even though we were the only ones there. I saw the bow of a simple woka, a canoe type of boat, sitting in the shallows of the water by where we were. It had no bow decoration seen in traditional waka, and I could see the bow coming to a point. The red-brown color of the wood, the thickness of the sides of the waka. No one else could see it, and it didn't show up in photos. Part of the jetty was underwater, which was apparently unusual, and there was a sign by the lake talking about it being a battle site, that the Rupa, sacred Maori burial grounds, were nearby. We all felt like we were being watched, and several of us heard women's voices chanting and calling out at different times, but could not make out the words. At one point, Jay saw eyes glowing near us, and yet there were no animals there. Feeling unwelcome, we all decided to walk back to the car, but something began getting aggressive with the only male in the group and pushed Jay over. And then it hit him around the head. On the way back to the path, Jay felt uneasy about walking through a shelter over the pathway, and I could see something moving across in the dark. We got back to the car, and we could hear the car making an odd clicking noises, and a rock was thrown at Jay with force. The rock was a few inches across in size. Wow, that's significant. We decided that was enough, and we got in the car ready to leave. Now, keep in mind, this car is Jay's pride and joy, well-maintained, and normally doesn't miss a beat. Jay tried to start the car, and the lights would go on, but the fuel pump would not work. We tried several times without success, so I began praying for help and for protection. Well, this didn't work at first, and we heard a thump, which sounded like something hitting the back of the car while we were sitting inside of it. The radio turned itself on and off, and after about 5 minutes of trying, the car started fine, and we went to leave the car park. Just at the exit of the car park, the car lost all power. Lights went out, everything, and Jay had to slam on the brakes since we couldn't see where we were going in the pitch black. The fear was beginning to kick in now. Not knowing what would happen if we didn't make it out of there that night, H and I were calling on our angels, spirit guides, and ancestors to help us, and the car started again. The next 20 miles, the car would lose power by itself, speed up by itself, turn signals would keep flashing by themselves, and the windscreen wipers would turn themselves on and off. H focused hard on visualizing all her angels and ancestors protecting us. She could actually see 5 beams of 7 feet tall white light, beings guiding our car and fending off the flying Maori warrior spirits that were chasing us, trying to attach themselves to the car. The white light beings would push them off. The Maori warrior spirits looked like older male warriors, and H could see their tattooed heads and torsos following by mist trails. At one point, there was only 3 Maori warriors left, and H thought she could relax, but as soon as she did, the car engine began to die again, so she redoubled her efforts, and I did too, calling on my angels and spirit guides by name, as well as my ancestors to help us. I couldn't manage to protect a white light over the entire car, so I focused on creating a protective field of white light around Jay, our driver, trying to keep him calm while he was desperately attempting to control the car. The car suddenly struggled to get over a small bridge, so I began calling on Archangel Michael for protection, and the car suddenly surged ahead again. The car became stuck in one gear, and Jay couldn't change the gears without some force, and this thankfully soon came right again. At one point, the car suddenly sped up out of control as we were heading towards a corner, and we were all terrified. We were going to go off the road and over a cliff, and Jay commented during this drive that it felt like he wasn't the one driving. At one point, Jay was so shaken that he needed to pull over to collect himself. There had been a cold presence between E and H in the back seat, playing with E's hair while we were driving, and when Jay opened the window briefly, when he stopped, the three of them felt a cold rush of air moving outwards as if something left the car. Once we reached the tar seal road, we had no more issues, bar one, but we were all very shaken by our experiences. The final experience was as we were crossing over a particular bridge, the car surged one final time. The speedometer said 100 kilometers, approximately 62 miles per hour. But it felt much faster for a distance of about 100 meters. We actually were pushed back in our seats from the surge like you do on a plane during takeoff. The whole trip there and back took 3 hours. Jay had his car checked for any mechanical issues or electrical faults, and yet the mechanic and auto electrician could find nothing wrong with it. And it has driven perfectly fine since that night. Analyzing photos, we managed to...
Hey everyone, it's Chris Gio, founder of True Frequency Radio and host of Beyond the Veil.
I
The
guess we'll be
mainstream
right
media
back.
and establishment are running
Sorry.
scared right now, and they've prominently featured TrueFrequencyRadio.com as number 89.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the last half hour of our show tonight. It's been flying by, and this is an amazing email as well. We've had great emails all night tonight, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much to all of you who have contributed emails to the show. Sometimes I get emails, and it's like, hey, you want to be on the podcast? And those are fun, too. So I'm actually getting a lot more emails, but I'm saving those for actual podcast episodes because we always need new material. It's not easy putting on a show like this. So anytime you guys can contribute new material, it always makes it better. So I'm going to continue reading our email encounter story from Nessie here. So let me get back to this and we'll get through it right now. So once we reached the Tarcio Road, we had no more issues bar one, but we were all very shaken by our experiences. The final experience was as we crossed over a particular bridge. The car surged one final time. The speedometer said 100 kilometers, approaching approximately 62 miles per hour, but it felt much faster for a distance of about 100 meters, and we actually were pushed back in our seats from the surge like you do on a plane during takeoff. The whole trip there and back took 3 hours, and Jay had his car checked for any mechanical issues or electrical faults, and yet the mechanic and auto electrician could find nothing wrong with it. And it has driven perfectly fine since that night. Analyzing photos we managed to take that night, we saw some ghostly images that sent chills down our spine. The photos that were on my phone were mysteriously gone the next day. One showed two skulls, one stacked on the top of the other. Wow. The bottom one looking like an animal skull of some sort. Another photo that went missing showed the side profile in color of a Maori warrior's face. Wow. And you could clearly make out facial details in the tamoko. I remembered this image so clearly. I sketched it as well as the waka that I saw on the lake edge. Mists keep showing in some photos when there was no mist anywhere at all in person. One picture also showed something attempting to materialize on the lakeshore. Wow. Nothing was visible to the naked eye at the time. Maori are traditionally known for their deep spiritual connection to their ancestors and to the land. We believe what we experienced was a combination of both, a residual haunting and an intelligent haunting. 2 weeks after our experience, just enough time to make me think that maybe it was just hysteria or an overactive imaginations, news broke that a couple had died in a boating accident on the lake, and the woman's body had been recovered. The man's body and the boat itself were never found. Wow. At that point, the sense of unease returned, so we contacted the elders of the local Maori tribe. We relayed our experiences to them. The elders felt it was now necessary for them to make a trip to the island where the burial is situated to check on the burial site. The bones had been disturbed and scattered. The tribal elders were now working to more effectively protect this sacred historic site. They also told us the sensation we had on the journey home of feeling like we were speeding up by the bridge was us leaving the realm of the spirit warriors. We also discovered after some research that elements like water and limestone are excellent conductors for spiritual activity. And the area is rich in limestone, and of course the lake we went to visit had all the water element you could ask for. It took us months before we were ready to go out there again, and even in the daytime, the forest is still very active spiritually. But that's a story for another time.
Wow.
Thanks for reading.
That is awesome.
Oof. That is intense.
Scary. Don't let me, let me, say, minimize it by saying, whoa.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's powerful. It's awesome. And,
very intense. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Maori are the indigenous people of New Zealand.
Yes.
Yes, and the only reason I really know that is because I listened to a band called Alien Weaponry. They sing in Maori.
Oh, nice, nice. Okay. So I'm gonna see if I can do this. Yeah, it looks like I can. Let me see. I can do one at a time here. I don't want to expose anybody's personal details here, so I'm just gonna pull it up like this and put it on the screen so everybody can see. This is the sketch of the Maori warrior that she saw. And yeah, wow.
Did you ever watch Ender's Game or
Yes.
read the book?
Yep.
Okay, so the colonel or whatever he was, Ben Kingsley's character in that movie, he had the tattoos on his face.
Mm-hmm.
He was supposedly a Maori descendant.
Oh, very
That's
cool.
why he had those tattoos.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, that is intensely epic.
Yes.
And then there is another one. Let me get to that one. And this shows the
Waka,
boat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. So
And that was just this past. Well, would it be? It would be winter.
May 23rd.
May. Would it be winter or what season would it be in May for you folks down there? Because for us it'd be spring.
right. So,
it'd be
it was
fall.
autumn.
Autumn, yeah.
She said it was autumn
Oh,
in the story. So yeah, very intense.
wow.
That is really, really incredible. Huh. Well, I can't tell you how much I appreciate that, and the pictures are wonderful too. I'm sorry you lost all those other pictures, but that's there's so many times that happens.
Oh,
People catching amazing EVPs, playing them, and then they play them back.
gone, yeah.
And the cool thing about that is that sometimes they will disappear from the original device. But there's been cases where people have had cameras going as they re-listen to EVPs, and the EVP captured on the recorder will disappear. It'll be gone, just like suddenly not present. But the video recording of it still is there. So it's like they could remove it from the original device that captured it, but
Right.
not from the camera that recaptured it, the copy of a copy, if you will. So very wild. That's
Wow.
incredibly
That's one for
intense.
the books.
That's an incredibly intense series of events, and I'm glad it all worked out. I'm sorry that it was such a
Yeah.
terrorizing experience, and I can only imagine the intensity of being in those moments. But wow,
You know, when they said that the car sped up, it was one of those, like, I kind of thought, it was leaving a portal, and so that's kind of what the elders had explained to him, and
Yeah.
that's the way it felt to me. So wow, Nessie, that was awesome. That's
Right.
awesome.
Thank you so much for sending that in. That's really cool. Excellent stuff. You guys are definitely make these shows incredible.
Wow.
So, but yeah, I'm getting so many emails now, Don. It's just incredible. I mean, it's just so incredible to hear from so many people. I don't know the kind of emails other hosts get, but this new influx has just been wonderful.
Right.
And I really appreciate all of that contribution and participation and the trust. I mean,
Right.
I'm just honored so deeply by the trust that Nessie, you gave us, and Alize that you gave us, and Sam, your mom.
Right.
That's just really cool. I really appreciate it.
Wow.
To me, that really makes the show incredible.
It verifies it. What is the word I'm looking for? It verifies us. It validates us.
It
validates
us.
the show.
It does. Yeah, I think it does. You're right.
So people are asking, because I mentioned the name of a band. They're actually a thrash band from New Zealand. They sing in Maori because they are descendants of the Maori, and it's called Alien Weaponry. So there you go.
Cool. I know that Duke's a big fan of the Hun or the Who or the Who. That's the Mongolian.
The
Who?
Mongolians. Yeah, they're awesome. As a matter of fact, they
It's so cool.
They did a song with a current top 40-ish type rock band, and it actually came out really cool.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
The Who, yeah, HU, the Who.
The Who.
Yeah. And they do
Who
that,
are
that
you?
frog singing.
Yeah, it's octave singing.
Real deal. You can email me at aetherarchives, AETHERARCHIVES @gmail.com. As a matter of fact, there's my email. So if anybody wants to write to Dawn.
Why are you?
Currently, the only person who writes to Dawn is Jess.
Oh,
And I love her for it. Thank you.
yeah. Absolutely. It's always good to hear from everybody.
Yes, absolutely. Taco Violator B is in the house.
Oh, cool.
And that's a new name for me. As a matter of fact, they said that they finally caught, longtime listener, finally caught a live show. And now everybody wants tacos.
Absolutely. I think we all do. We all do, of course. I know that name is incredibly familiar to me. I think we got an email.
Taco, what name?
Taco Violator.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think. Oh, that's you. I saw that light. I'm like, what the hell are you
Oh,
doing?
yeah, I'm playing with the cat laser. Sorry.
I see a light appear, and I'm like, what the hell is going on?
I got this little red thing over here.
Right.
Zzz.
Yeah. So yeah, I've got a bunch of emailed stories that I'm trying to transfer over for the podcast. Because they're just so cool and intense, and I really appreciate that.
Oh, he says, Taco Violator says, yeah, there was one that was sent.
Did I reach out to you via email, Taco? Let me know. Because I think I did to, I think it was this one.
Crow Creek, I do
Yes,
have that
this is
email.
it.
That's right. Tony from Crow Creek. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Did email me as well. I'm still looking at it, buddy.
So Taco, I'm going to be emailing you because the reason I didn't read your story yet is because and I all of you guys could be guests on the podcast. Don't get me wrong. I mean, like everyone. In fact, we'll probably take the other stories that we read tonight and make a podcast episode of those.
Oh, you know what'd be cool is if people would just call in, even if it's just like to explain their story real quick, just like a 5-minute. We should set up something where they can leave like a 5-minute, here's my story, and just kind of put them all together.
Yeah, let's give them your number.
I have that number.
No, I'm just kidding. Of course, I'd love to hear from everybody. I wish we had the ability for people to just call a line and leave a message for us. Yeah, if we had like a hotline, so to speak, that we could check out who called and what they had to say. But yeah, I mean, I like that as well. But it's just really cool to be able to ask questions and stuff. But no, everybody's stories are just amazing. So we got 13 minutes left on.
Not much, but you got a couple extras, or?
No, not really.
So what were you saying to Taco Violator? Would you like to have him on the podcast? Or?
Well, I was thinking about that, and I don't know. I guess we could just read it now and make that into the episode as well. What do you think?
The episodes we were talking about earlier?
No, well, yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
yeah.
sure.
Let's do another one because I think this is really cool. And this is Taco Violator's email. Thank you, brother, for sending this in. I appreciate it tons. It says, hello there. There are a few of my stories that I wish you to know about. Use these as you wish. I'm sorry if it was a bit drawn out. I have 2 or 3 stories I hope you find interesting. Well, of course. We love all of them. I don't care if just your fork moved on the table. I mean, that to me is epic. So I have a pretty low bar for being impressed, believe me. And that's, because anything moving is huge. Or anything happening paranormally is really huge. This one is, number 1 is cryptid maybe? Question mark. It says, years ago, I'm not sure of the date or time. It was a nice day outside, and I was with one of my friends, a few other kids, and a mediator of sorts, adult that kept us from causing trouble. The name of the mediator I can't remember offhand. I was young, like 13 or 14, and with my best friend out in a park or wooded area. We don't have many wooded areas in South Dakota. We're out walking along a trail, messing around and doing kid things. And as my friend and I were walking to catch up to the group, on our right side were 2 large trees about 30 or 40 feet apart. And as we walked by, both noticed something out of the peripheral vision from the side of one of the trees. As we turned to look, we noticed what appeared to be a blue-colored foot or toe sticking out from the tree. The color of the blue was similar to an ocean blue with light spots of lighter blue. The next thing we saw was what looked like a 7 to 9 foot tall blue creature that ran from behind the tree to the other and vanished. It looked like the Avatar blue people from the movie Avatar. It was much skinnier, almost as if it was just bones and skin. And it was smooth and hairless. It took only 3 steps to go around 30 or 40 feet and vanished. And we ran to look behind the tree, and we absolutely saw nothing. The only thing we noticed from this was a smell of stale air, which was hard to believe in a fresh air park, and some grass that had been wet or on a sunny, clear day. The wet spots on the grass were not in the shape of feet. It was almost like the grass was misted or similar to a morning dew. We will never forget it. That is just bizarre. I've never heard anything like that before, which is, it still doesn't mean it's not possible. I'm just saying, wow, that is a unique experience for sure. He's got a midnight UFO sighting is next. This is about 7 years ago to the date. It was late at night, and I was walking home with a friend, and we were looking at the sky talking about nothing really important. And as we looked up, we noticed what looked like a satellite, and we both took notice and stared. And as we were looking, it took off in a random direction, straight line, no trail. It was very small and very fast. Well, as we watched it shoot away, it would stop suddenly and change direction. It did this for like 10 minutes roughly, going from one part of space to another, traveling distances that would be impossible for humans to do. It changed colors randomly, and to our amazement, it just vanished. The amount of space it traveled was something I couldn't even guess on. Thousands of miles each time it moved. And I assumed in what seemed like 20 to 30 seconds each time, it changed directions and moved. It made giant Z and hourglass patterns as far as its traveled patterns. Crazy. Both of these have other people that witnessed it.
Wow.
Yeah. And the third one is Daystar. This is a shorter story. I was at work, and it was in the middle of the day, and I went outside with a coworker to throw away some steel for recycling, and we looked up and saw what looked like a Tylenol capsule shining in the sky. It was cloudy with spotty clear sky. It didn't make any noise and traveled in a straight, very slow motion. It showed up from behind one cloud and traveled to another with absolutely no sound, no sky trail or indication that it was a jet or a passenger plane. It reflected a silvery gold bright light and looked as if it had an aura around it. Well, we watched it for about 10 seconds, and after it went behind the cloud, we never saw it again. About 40 minutes after that, a squadron of jets flew by, and we never saw or heard anything again. I hope you enjoyed these small stories and my bad spelling. Don't worry about it, brother. Actually, I didn't notice any spelling problems. These are genuine stories and to the best of my memory, and thank you for your amazing show. I found it this week, Tuesday, and I've not stopped listening to it since.
Wow.
9 hours a day.
That's binging.
Wow. Please don't stop. Amazing work, and it makes my day better.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Taco Violator. Well, thank you, brother. I mean, that means the world to us. Thanks so much for being a part of it now. You are now a part of the body of the work that is the Paranormal Portal.
There you go.
You've been immortalized, as it were. So thank you so much for being a part of this, and thanks for the support and the kind words. All of you guys are so friendly and awesome. Everyone here is amazing, and thank you for listening to my stories. Oh, yeah, for sure. And if you got any more, please feel free to send them in.
Absolutely.
We love hearing them. Love, love, love. All right, so let me move this one over to the folder so I get it out of the inbox and into a better location.
That's amazing, though, because Taco mentioned the Tylenol capsule, and immediately I thought of the Tic Tac.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly it.
The same kind of thing, right. I mean, those Tic Tac craft that are, of course, from the Department of Defense videos that are out there. Thanks to the Stars Academy.
The Academy.
It's like,
LLC.
yeah, I know. It's like
Nonprofit 503c.
it's like stay tuned for Ed McMahon and Star Search. Yeah, it's like craziness. I don't know why they stuck on such a stupid name, but I mean that's the least of their problems.
Oh, wow, yeah.
They are such a
benevolent society.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah.
Sure is.
Yeah.
But yeah,
They're kind to their pocketbook. Sorry.
they're kind to government contracts, apparently.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not really impressed with any of that right now, ladies and gentlemen, but that's me. I just I don't think that they should have done that.
No.
If you're not familiar with what we're talking about, it's the To the Stars Academy, Tom DeLonge's mechanization of probably making sure that everything UFO related gets reclassified with the military
yeah.
and government. But
It was a Chinese lantern.
it's, I guess so. So, but anyway, they've got in their possession, or had in their possession, allegedly some metamaterials, and basically that means allegedly some potential scraps that were obtained from believed to be UFO or alien spacecraft, and they had these materials, and in fact, some at least a portion of them, I know they got from Linda Moulton Howe, and we're going to have them tested, and so they they apparently had one round of testing, and then suddenly entered into contract agreement with the U.S. Army. It's like, are you freaking serious? Are you freaking serious? Like, yeah, we'll never see that stuff for another 300 years.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll be
just made me mad when I heard that. When you read that, I was like, oh no.
I know. It's like, of all the bad choices, like in a long line of terrible choices. Where can you buy merchandise, Don? Can you tell?
I just attempted to put it in there, and for some reason it's not. Let me get
It's
that.
in the show description on
Yes.
YouTube. If you look down, you can look at where to buy some of the cool gear that makes the Paranormal
And
Portal
we are
possible.
working on adding more. There it is.
Yeah,
There it is. The link is in the chat now.
it's in the chat. So yeah, we're going to be adding more items. We're always trying to be creative and think of.
Don just has to quit his job.
You do. You need to just be a Portalian.
Be the Portalian.
You are a Portalian.
Excuse
me.
Paisley asked if I gave you that charm.
That is incredibly cool, ladies and gentlemen. I just received tonight from our very own Paisley Wild of the Spaces Between, my own protection charm that she has made. And thank you for that. I really appreciate it. It is right here on my desk in front of me.
Paisley, what's in there? Was it, did you say pink salt and
Eye of
cascaria?
newt.
Eye of newt.
Liver of frog.
And a small bat swing.
Tears of a dragon. Komodo, of course. Yeah, no, it's really cool. Thank you so much. That's awesome.
She said there's no newt in it.
There's no
or
newt?
frog.
I want more newt.
I need more newt.
She turned me into a newt, she did.
It's just a little minute.
I got better.
Got better.
Yes, Paranormal Portal coffee beer.
Lavender, salt.
You guys are
cascaria.
helping to expand our merchandise. Thanks. Thank you very much. We'll have Paranormal Portal throw pillows, and we do got to do a blanket though, Don.
Yeah, I've been working on one.
Have you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It shouldn't be that bad. So
'Cause-
lavender, salt, and cascaria. Quartz. And there's a piece of quartz in there as well.
Oh, lovely.
Lovely.
And it's properly blessed, I take it.
Well, and she says and stuff. She must have a
And
proprietary,
stuff. All right.
proprietary
I like it.
mixture.
Nessie's like sacrifice of a virgin. Wait, do we have any virgins in here? No, I don't know about that.
No.
I don't know. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna touch that. I don't think. Ladies and gentlemen, stick around after the show if you're listening on TFR, iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live, as Paisley Wild will be coming up with the Spaces Between, following the Paranormal Portal, and then later, make sure to head to tfrlive.com/chat and listen to Duke's show. The World Bigfoot Radio will be coming up after that. I think I incorrectly last night several times advertised Duke's show for last night's schedule, but I think I was wrong.
I think I read that he's got an interview he did with Bear.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah,
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Bear is one of the iconic figures in the Bigfoot field. He and his former partner Kumbo really did some amazing work back in the day, and helping to identify behaviors and patterns and very specific things attributed to the Bigfoot, and I think really helped dial in a good behavior profile of this elusive being. But I was, listening to them way back in the beginning of my journey into the Bigfoot world, and that's how I became aware of people like Wes and Duke himself. I became aware of Duke from being on Wes's show. And it's just so funny that now, we're all friends. We have these friendships and stuff with these
kind of wild.
With these people that I, used to just.
Oh, you should have heard
to.
him fanboy. Go back and watch the first one with Bear. With Bear, he just.
Oh
fanboyed.
yeah, I'm serious. I meant every word I said. It was really cool. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap up our journey for tonight. I hope you've enjoyed this dash into the paranormal portal, and looks like we've arrived safely back at the station. So I guess every journey back home is a good one. So we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice, take care of each other, help each other out, find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. Don, anything in closing, brother?
Love you all. Don't forget, we've got the podcast coming out tomorrow.
Okay.
Not tomorrow, Monday.
But anyway, yes. And any more emails would be greatly appreciated. Good night, everybody.
Good
We love you
night.
bunches. And I'll be back tomorrow night with some night terrors. All right. Good night, everybody.